All right, guys. So we're discussing examples of instruments used in research. She was answering me when the class expired. Ugh. Is Tiana back yet? Let me see. Okay, she's not. She's in the waiting room. All right. Tiana? Oh. Mm. All right. Tiana, you there? Tiana? Have I muted you guys? Can you unmute yourselves, guys? I want to know if I'm doing something wrong. Yes, you can. All right, Vanille, give me some examples of instruments used in research, please.
Listening.
Yes, yes. Questionnaires, that's it?
Miss interviews.
Great. So you get the picture.
Surveys. Yeah, I also have surveys.
And what?
Surveys, miss.
Surveys, right. So you guys are accurate, all right? So it says population, things to do with a group of individuals, items, or events the researcher wants to use, right? Sample, as Alex says, is a subset of the population, right? That you use to determine your overall findings. So for example, you're doing a research at Cedar Grove High School, and your question is, how does, right? How does mental health affect student performance at the CSEC level? All right. Which subset of persons would you seek to interview or use as your sample in that context?
The A-level grade students.
Yes.
Grade 11 students, right? Okay. So the instruments, what instruments would you use to find out your information, to collect your data?
Questionnaire or interview.
Questionnaires or interviews, right? There are various ways that you can do that. All right, great job, guys. So the instrument refers to the methodologies used to collect data, right? It says that there are numerous research instruments in existence, and it is up to the researcher to find out what is the best type for the research he or she is doing, right? When the researcher creates his or her own instruments, this can be quite time consuming and raises the question of reliability and validity. So reliability has to do with whether you can really count on what you're finding out, and validity having to do with how relevant, how truthful is your information at the end of the day. So those are factors you have to consider as well. But here are the types of primary selection methods. So the first is questionnaire. These are very common in it. So it says, these are a collection of questions that the respondents complete on their own. They are used when factual information is required. When opinions are required, a questionnaire is used. This is constructed in a similar manner as a questionnaire. What? A questionnaire is used with all the research designs. There are approximately 3 ways in which a questionnaire can be administered. So we can use questionnaires to find out facts or opinions, depending on our purpose for our research, right? So it says you can do it personally, you can do it over the phone, or you can do it via the email. Have you ever received a questionnaire?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
And in what context?
Miss personal.
Personally, okay. Has anyone received one over by email or the mail? How about telephone? Okay. So most times they're personally delivered. All right. Next we have interviews. Remember, these are what kind of sources? Interviews and questionnaires are what kind of sources? Primary. That is correct. All right. Then we have interviews. These can either be structured or unstructured. They comprise a group of questions administered to the respondent face to face. The structured interviews comprise a set of precisely formulated questions which are asked of a respondent. So typically, when we're doing interviews, the interviewer already has a set of questions prepared, don't it?
Yes, miss.
Yes?
Yes.
Right. Cool. So the unstructured interviews, what would happen if an interview was unstructured? If I went to the interview not having any questions prepared beforehand, what would happen?
Miss, somebody else on the phone and
You think so?
Miss sometimes they repeat the question.
You just fire random randomly.
Yes. Or what about the direction of the interview? What can happen?
It gone all over the place.
Yeah, it will go all over the place. So you need somebody
Yes,
who is
Like,
strong to conduct the interview, or else it will go haywire. Have you guys seen an interview with Ninja Man and Emily Crooks, that old interview?
No, miss.
You guys haven't seen it?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
I'm gonna try and have you guys watch that interview. It is hilarious. But it also shows that for an interview to be successful, you have to have predetermined questions, right? And you have to be firm in guiding the direction of the interview. But granted, I think she was too firm. But yes. So it says, I'm seeing persons talking in the chat. Let me see what's in the chat. All right. So it says, the unstructured interviews allow the respondent to respond to a stimulus question. It is very informal and allows the respondent to speak for as long as he or she wants. So can you imagine somebody who is very chatty? How far they will carry you if your interview is not structured? Can you see that, guys?
Yes, miss.
Because these are used in qualitative research and case studies, but can be useful in surveys, especially social surveys. So remind me, please, what's the difference between qualitative and quantitative?
so qualitative is about how the person feel, and quantitative is speaks to numerical, a large amount such as such as surveys and those things. Miss.
Accurate. Thank you. All right. Next, we're going to look at observation. Observation is a systematic noting and recording of events, behaviors, and artifacts or objects in the social setting chosen for study. So like I said earlier, mine was a school, right? The observational record is frequently referred to as field notes. What are they called, guys?
Field notes.
Note.
Field notes. All right. They are detailed, non-judgmental, supposedly, concrete descriptions of what has been observed. For studies relying exclusively on observation, the researcher makes no special effort to have a particular role in the setting. To be tolerated as an unobtrusive observer is enough. Observation can range from a highly structured, detailed notation of behavior, structured by a checklist, to a more holistic description of events and behavior. So my research at the time was mixed. So we also had a checklist, but we also had room to really comment on our own experiences and how we felt in the environment. All right? So they can be structured by checklist, or they can be more holistic in description and stuff. So let's go to advantages and disadvantages. What do you believe are some facts, or are some strengths, I should say, or questionnaires? Some strengths.
Yes, these would be like personal findings, so you could get a better understanding.
And
So
they take less time.
yeah, and they take less time as well.
Okay. Anybody else? Italia, can I hear from you, please? You've been very quiet. What do you believe are some strengths of questionnaires? Italia? Italia?
I might not working.
All right. She's not by her computer then. All right.
You want me
moving
to
away.
She
tell her
texts in the group, miss.
She did? I can't see it.
Text it in the chat.
What did she say in the chat? I can't see it.
Our
Her mic
mic's not.
is not working.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I see it now. Paul said awkwardness. Interesting. What was that referring to? Oh,
The interview question.
interview. All right. So here we go. Questionnaire. Here are the strengths, right? It facilitates data collection of large population. So it can go across a large cross section of people, right? It is less time consuming than other methods. And it also allows for anonymous responses. So in cases where your research might be sensitive, right? And you don't want people to really feel like they put themselves out there. So for example, you talk something like you want to find about community policing in an environment. Persons might not be willing to put their names on the paper. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, miss.
So questionnaires allows for anonymous responses, right? And it is easily administered, easy to hand out to the persons in particular. But the question is, what are some of the weaknesses? What are some setbacks to using questionnaires, do you think?
Takes a long time to come up with some of the questions.
You think so? All right.
Yes, miss.
Any other setbacks?
And miss, also because based on what you said, some people don't want to put their name on it because of how they feel about it, miss, them can give wrong information.
Yeah,
That is
that's
true.
that is so true.
Very good. Anybody else? No, Mika, you've been too quiet today. What's going on with you? Let me hear from you.
What was the question, miss?
Talk truth.
Miss, I heard the question, but it's like just real fast.
The question was, right? What do you believe are some weaknesses of using questionnaires? Some setbacks to questionnaires.
Okay. One, Wait, Mr. Thinking. Okay, so one questions take long to formulate. Then
Are you
two,
thinking or reading? Which one?
I'm not reading.
Okay.
So questions take long to formulate, miss. And then I don't think the strength is really, I don't think it's really less time consuming than any other method, miss. Because when you sit and look on a questionnaire, miss, you have to sit and you have to come up with your questions. You have to find individuals that you know are honest enough to give the answers.
Do you think it is upon you to find persons you think are honest enough? Or do you just go ahead and do a wide cross section of people?
A wide transmission. I don't have
Miss,
time
well,
to speak.
Miss, well, I believe that, some people are very dishonest, so you try and find people that would answer these questions very honestly. And
Yeah,
just,
you will, but you won't know for sure because you can't look at somebody and tell that they're honest or not.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
that is true.
So
Okay,
that's
miss, for
naturally
me,
a setback to using questionnaires. Persons can lie. And I'm seeing in the chat
Any
where some
method
person
that
says you may have unanswered questions. That is true. Persons might skip one because, hey, we can't answer that one day.
it's not even only that. Some of the questions that are asked in some questionnaires are not directed to them, so they cannot relate to it, so they're not going to answer it. And it then
Yeah,
Ah, very
exactly.
good. So those are weaknesses regarding the instrument itself. Right, that's good. That's very good. So here are some instances. Says not very economical because of paper expenses. Does not allow for probing questions. It's kind of on the surface, isn't it? Right? Responses can be misleading, as we said earlier, especially if researchers are not around to clarify. So sometimes persons can misinterpret the question too. They read it and then say a completely different thing than what you have on the paper. Or they interpret it completely the opposite of what it was intended to communicate. And it happens every day. Look at when we're doing tests and we see instructions. How many times have you read a instruction and then don't understand what to do or do the wrong thing? Has that happened to you before?
Yes, miss.
It happens to us at times, right? So, and here it is, limitations posed by the literacy of the respondents. Suppose they can read, right? Or them can count few words, but can't necessarily understand because the vocabulary limited and things like that. Are we seeing that being a factor, guys?
Yes, miss.
Talk to me, the man. I get me miserable. Sure. Can we see that, guys?
yes,
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Awesome. I'm feeling like Bob the Builder. Can we fix it? All right. Then we have interview, right? What do you think are some benefits to you doing an interview? What are some benefits of doing an interview that you can think of?
Miss, you can ask further questions.
Huh?
Miss, you can ask further questions for clarification.
Ah, yes, you can ask follow-up questions. Yes. Kiana with a Y. Can you tell me what do you think are some strengths of using what you call it? Sorry, my head going. Of interviews? Kiana with a Y. Are you there?
Miss, can I try, miss?
Is she typing in the chat?
Yes, miss.
What does she say? I can't
It
see right
provides
now.
flexibility.
Flexibility?
Yes, miss.
In what sense, Kiana? Expound on that, please. Flexibility. All right, while she types, can anyone else give me some strengths you think of interviews?
Yes, the interviewer has a better response rate, meaning that if you mail those questions, the person probably wouldn't answer it. But now that he's face to face, he's getting a better response than he would if he
Ah,
used the question.
that is true. That is true. All right. So it says it provides in-depth information. Can we agree with that?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
And it can yield a high volume of data. You can find out a lot from an interview.
Yes, miss.
Right.
Miss,
Yes.
what I think she means by it's flexible, I think she means like it's easily modified. That means like if I have a certain question that I feel like isn't directed to you,
Yeah, you
I
can
can like
modify it.
ask something different.
I
Right.
don't think
And I can also choose to restructure my question if you don't answer what I'm saying to you.
And miss, you can also branch off on other questions. So like you can use one question just to ask many.
To lead to
Like,
another segue,
yeah.
right? Follow-up questions. Accurate. Very good. All of that is true. Correct, guys. Good job. Now, can we think of some weaknesses then of using interviews? Some
Wow.
weaknesses of interviews.
Yes. According to you earlier when you said, imagine if a person talk much,
Yes.
miss them can give unnecessary information that's
Very
not
good.
relevant.
Beautiful. Yes.
And it's time consuming. Really time consuming.
It can be, yes.
Miss, I have to get ready to go to.
Huh?
I have to get ready to go.
I don't understand.
As in, like, instead of the questionnaire by email, you'd have in your house and comfortable. But the interview, you'd have to put on clothes and suit and thing.
Okay. All right. That's one way to look at it, I guess. Any other you can think of? No? All right, let's move on.
Some of the questions that you probably ask, the person might think it as in being biased.
Ah, yes. Yeah, you know what? I'm definitely gonna show you that Emily Crooks interview today. I'm gonna do it. A clip of it. I won't even show you all of it. And we can look at it on the premise of these that we're seeing right here. Right? So it says, may result in unnecessary information, can be affected by the researcher's biases, right? Can be time consuming. Data collection is heavily dependent on the respondent's schedule. All right, so you can decide, say, all right, I want to talk today. It depends on when the person is available to you, right? It's all about their timing, right? And the person you're talking to, they can have poor memory.
And a poor me alone, mister. I'm nervous and forget everything you come to say.
That is true, yes, as
You
well
can
as
start
they can be
stammer.
naturally lie. Right?
Yeah.
So those are some setbacks we can encounter with regards to using interview as a process, right? So observation, what are some strengths?
It's your personal analysis, miss.
That's a strength?
Because it's your personal analysis, you get a better understanding of it too. Yeah.
Okay. So this says facilitates the collection of primary data. It's kind of a weak strength of okay. Comparatively lessens respondents' biases and possible interference. So you might have biases involved, but it is a limited amount of bias that is possible to have precedence there. All right. It's highly unlikely to have a fully biased observation. It can yield a high volume of data. It's true. You learn a lot about people by just observing. You know that? Do you know that, guys?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
You learn a whole lot if you just be quiet and you just listen around you.
Observe.
And you say, I said, I want to stay. Just watch how they move and you'll be amazed. Like the first time I did it, I was just amazed. Like, wow. So it can yield a high volume of data, right? And it also allows for researcher flexibility.
Just like me for person.
Huh?
Just like me for person. Like some people, like for instance, they're very famous and people usually stuff and observe and put it on the newspaper.
I'm muffled, Mama. Repeat the last part, please.
Miss like a news reporter or a journalist, miss. Like for example, if you're famous, Miss they will literally start you and observe you, miss, and put whatever they found on you on the newspaper.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think are some weaknesses then of observation?
Miss, some of the things that it might be misinterpreted, miss, like
That is true.
very on a large scale.
Miss, and not all the white people show their true self, miss, when they're doing
Yeah,
certain things.
true.
Exactly. Very true. Can you remember those days when you used to have practice teacher come into your school? When you have practice teachers come into your school, right? And they're being observed for the day. Did you notice any difference between how they were regularly or your classmates for that matter, how they were on a regular day as opposed to on that day?
Because the first thing a teacher come and say to you, be on the best behavior is when she gone. If I say that,
Yes,
you don't say have a quiet.
So most persons are very nice when the observer is around, right? Show the best colors, when in fact they're really little devils. So it says weaknesses can be affected by the researcher's bias, right? The reactions of the respondents may be misinterpreted, right? Important and relevant data may be missed, as chosen times of observation may not be appropriate or even significant. So you might not know, based on how the culture of the place or the person you are observing, you might be off. You might miss the juicy parts based on when you go there. And it may be affected by observer's paradox, where the person being observed exhibits behavior they feel is expected. So based on what they feel like they're expecting, they go there and see things and they must grab it up. Right, so we're gonna stop there, a secondary. But class end 10-15 minutes. Let me go ahead real quickly and find an interview. YouTube.
It's such a bad word.
So I'm not gonna go through secondary with you because it's already there in your notes. But what I will do, I'm gonna provide some questions for you guys to do for assignment. Right? We're going to distinguish whether or not pieces of information are primary or secondary. Let me see. Emily Shields. Here it is. Interview Ninja Man. Right there. Let me stop sharing so I can share the screen with you.
Where was this sent? Where was this document sent?
No, I haven't sent it yet. I'm going to send it.
Okay.
This one is Miss, which one is talking? It's not the work. Is it this misreading?
No, the one I'm going to send to you for today's class. We're going to decide whether something is, what you call it?
Oh, primary and secondary. Okay.
Right, yeah. How mine going? So there are lengthy versions, but we don't have time for that. So I'm going to go ahead with a snippet, although the quality up here is better. I'll just skip through.
Burrito boosts your money power and your money IQ by giving you the tech, tips, and tools that you need to stay ahead of the game.
Thank you.
We welcome you back and thank you for staying with us on Exposure. As I said, we talked today with Desmond Valentine, and you would know him as Ninja Man. And we were talking about the manner in which you grew up Ninja Man before. And you said
we are come from early with up on the street, man.
Yes.
We know everything about the street. We learn good and we learn evil. That's why we can't able to come tell the youths them now, say, a full time for come out of the foolishness. Because after I've been through this more than 23 years, me supposed to can't tell any youth, because me want you know this, you know. When I was coming at the DJ business, you never used to have man talk about gun and them thing then.
You brought it in, didn't you?
Me bringing gun lyrics on stage, you know. No DJ never mentioned nothing about gun when me coming at the business. Me coming at the business and come tell them, say, me got 14 gun. mathematics, rap master, the whole of them things them he come tell the youth.
Did you really have the guns?
But you see right now, I hear what me did I work after when we start DJ, you know. Me used to work after the things and when me used to sit before and things were happening in front of my eyes because really I know write lyrics. Every one of my tune them.
I am fine.
And credit yourself for starting the first gun lyrics in Jamaica. Why not reverse it and
credit
complain with the
myself,
people?
I can tell you, say me that 42 gun or 80 gun.
How many did you have?
You don't go and know, say me turn over the one that me have.
But you didn't have one.
You only have...
How many did you turn over backstage?
That are lyrics, man.
So you didn't give Mr. Adams an M16 and an AK-47 backstage?
No.
You didn't hand over anything to the senior soup?
So when me hide someone back and bring one come up front, so hide and seek me a play.
You tell me.
You must think I do see me that program made up and a real thing I go on TV and on radio and everywhere now. I front of the whole Jamaica, me handling the illegal firearm, you know.
Did you not confirm for me, because news had it that you did hand over M16 and AK-47?
The news them fi understand and listen to the song that I've done. They say, why don't we surrender our guns? One part of the song say, Adams, here is my gun. Take my AK, my M16, them one. But leave my Beretta, I have a small matter to settle with the one beanie man.
And that was all lyrics?
That was all lyrics. The next verse said, no, ninja, you must understand. You must fight fist to fist like a man. But the people are dying, the children are crying, and blood is all over the land.
Did you know Mr. Adams before Sting?
I never see that man yet.
So why did you call him on stage? How did you know he was in the crowd?
All right, I'll tell you something. I'm not carbon copy bad man. I'm not more be an investigator. Go and see if you can find out if a police officer sell gun. Join the force as an undercover police who's seeking out police business. I am out there as an outlaw trying to make Jamaica a better place to live. Trying to change the youth them used to tread in my direction. I ain't no business about which police to sell gun. They just nagging a normal policeman gun. Adams is the one where them have out here as the head of the crime. Who out here on a gun hunt.
The gun that you handed over to Mr.
Alright guys, so we're seeing a
we're still genuine. Most people only love you when you win.
Please pause the video first and then you speak.
Handed over to Mr.
Repeat that, please.
Miss, I was telling you to pause the video first and then speak because I wasn't hearing you.
Oh, I was saying that it gets really interesting throughout the interview. Because at one point, they're really at a clash. I'm telling her she's too fast, you know? Because she was asking very probing questions, right? Till him tell her, say, boy, a man mustn't like her because she asks too much questions. Right? And remember, guys, this is live TV. This is Jamaica news, like TV.
But for real, miss, some of my question them in just in a man skin, we man admit, and the man like much I put word in a man mode.
True.
So the interviewer can also affect the response of the interviewee based on their approach, right? So you have to try and be unbiased as possible, because you may push the person into a corner and end up causing frictions or contentions where it's unnecessary. And in this case, it really did cause a problem between the two of them. But there's some person...
Front to the back is clean.
Why should anybody believe you, Ninja Man?
I don't care if you believe me after you know God.
Let me
tell you something.
Let me
hold on. When you say that,
in the mid-90s.
Hold on, when you say that, I can hit a point to you. I don't care whether you don't believe me or not, you know. Yeah. The last time I give my life to God, wholly and solely, and I
did you really?
And when you not done criticize me, I couldn't take it no more. I have to come out and say, God, there's so much Christian to be, I can't take him, I walk away. But me, I'll tell you something now.
Were you really a Christian, or were you just broke?
What?
I needed some money.
You can't make me broke. You think a DJ make money?
All right, look at that question now, guys. Was that appropriate or not?
It wasn't appropriate.
It wasn't appropriate at all.
Can mean somebody said that to me, man.
Because why you want to ask somebody them believe?
That never comes.
It's Ninja Man look like you want to beat her. What you
You like me?
How much do you make for a regular stage show?
I tax you want to come down, I don't make nothing. You think you're not...
You're Ali Button?
Yes, work for nothing, but if you check my pocket, it have been something.
Were you really a Christian?
I wasn't a Christian. I was a man of God.
What's the difference?
Because Christian have a tendency to be hypocrite in the sight of God.
And what are you now?
When you work in the sight of God, you must not go to a man yard. You must not cheat on your fellow brothers in the church. You must not rob the collection. And a church that is dealing with God is supposed to make sure that.
All right,
I'm
guys.
out. I'm out. I don't like this.
All right, guys. So I think we have to go now. Class has come to an end. But
No.
I hold up by showing it to you. You could see for yourself what are some setbacks to the interview process, right? What are some challenges and why it is important for the interviewer to be very unbiased, right, when asking questions, because your questions affect the responses you receive. And that's why it's also, you think she had her questions written down beforehand? All those questions were written down?
Miss out her election.
It would seem that they're from her head, don't it? Right? So we have to have our interviews structured and so that it is time constrained, right? And that we don't offend or weary the audience as well. All right, so on that premise, guys, I'm going to end the class. Do we have any questions or comments? You may voice them now. No? Alrighty. So on that, and I wish you guys a productive day. May God be with you all and bless you all. See you again next week, Thursday. Adios.
Okay, miss. Bye.
Bye, Miss, and same to you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Bye, Miss. Bye-bye. This group is actually good enough. Far more material. Far more material than the other grades. No, 6 farmers.